Welcome back to Shit Talk Fridays. I'm Jeanna.
And I'm Ivo.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, Jeanna.
I love the smile on your face.
It's the fuckery.
It's always the fuckery.
It's the fuckery, for
I know.
Sure.
And we're drinking, and Ivo got us something special. So I actually don't know what it is. I know that it's tequila, but I don't know what kind of tequila.
I switched it up a bit. Usually we do the Don Julio Añejo.
Mm-hmm.
This week I decided to go with the
No, wait. Don't tell me. Let me sip it, and then
sure.
you tell me.
Right.
So cheers.
Cheers. Let me know what you think.
Okay. I have no problem telling you.
Now, mind you, it is a different brand, so
okay.
Kind of evaluate it in its
I'm
own.
going to tell you my immediate thoughts.
In its own. Don't compare it.
I'm not comparing. I'm going to tell you my immediate thoughts. Because I'm a little bit of a connoisseur when it comes to alcohol tasting, right?
Yeah, right.
Because once upon a time, Jeanna actually worked for an alcohol brand, and I had to taste alcohols because I was selling them. Anyway, it has more of a burn than the other ones that we drink.
Really?
Yes. It doesn't go down as smooth. And it lacks the vanilla notes
Yeah, it does.
that are in the other one. This one tastes more like tequila. Like I'd like this in a mixer.
This is definitely not something that you mix. I do agree with you. It has less of that vanilla kind of caramel notes to it.
Yeah.
But I don't agree with it burns as much. I
think it burns more. The other one to me is like smooth. The Don Julio that we drink,
right.
It's almost kind of scary to me how smooth it goes down.
Yeah. Well, that's comparable to Clase Azul. So that's kind of like why I really like that particular tequila.
I'm not the biggest fan in this one. I don't 100% dislike it. I think this would make a great mixer in like one of the spicy margaritas or something that we like to drink.
You don't do any. I don't believe you do any. I mean, you can. I don't.
Yeah, why couldn't you?
Because in margaritas and mixed drinks, you usually just do silvers. When you go to the añejos, the extra añejos and the reposados, those are kind of like you just drink them straight like this. As far as I know, I could be wrong. I don't recall ever having them as a mixed drink, nor will I ever ask for it as a mixed drink, unless it's just plain silver.
Okay. I don't know much about that. I just feel like it would probably, in my mind, I'm thinking it would taste good. And anyway, let's get into today's topic.
Yeah, let's get into it.
So we are talking about power couples. And I would like to give a shout out to one of our listeners, Vic, who him and I were having a conversation about something, one of our videos that he saw on I think it was Instagram or whatever it was. And him and I were just chatting it up. And then he mentioned that he felt that you and I were a power couple. And I was immediately like off-putted. And for anyone that doesn't know me, I get very weirded out when people address Ivo and I with these type of phrases. Like when they say that we're relationship goals, couple goals, when they say things like we're a power couple, when they say that people have said to us in the past that they want what we have. These type of phrases and statements make me so weirded out. And it has a lot to do with the fact that I sometimes am very afraid of embarrassment. And that's like something that is part of me since I was very young.
Yeah. I
never want anyone to ever see us outside of what I consider us to be, which is a very normal functioning, what I would think is a very normal functioning couple.
I mean, we have same problems that most people have as far as in a relationship goes.
Yeah.
We just deal with them in private, and we make sure that we resolve them.
So because I was like so I was so off-putted by that comment, but I was very appreciative because I thought that was such a sweet way to address you and I know that he meant what he was saying. He looked at us like, we were something that was powerful. And he tied it into the fact that we're able to do this show together and that we're able to have like these very real conversations. Let's be real. There are many couples that can't talk
Right.
about the things that we talk about. There's been episodes where you have shared and I have shared things about past sex experiences with other people, past relationships. There's even times on the show that things have kind of gotten heated between you and
Yeah.
I.
Yep.
So I guess, he sees that there's a power in that. And, as kind of like weirded out as I was by that comment, I said to myself, why am I so bugged out by this? Is it possible that I'm wrong about the way people see us? Am I like kind of assessing my feelings inaccurately and being afraid being called this because I don't want to be seen as something other than what I consider us just to be a very normal couple?
I don't think you are. But then again, I know you in a way where most don't. So because I know you and understand you, I completely get why you feel the way that you feel. It took me a while to actually fully grasp it because there was parts of it that we're still unraveling as our relationship went on, and when that term started to come up and your reaction to it was not what I expected, immediately I began to wonder why you were feeling that way when I was very unaffected by it. It didn't make me feel great, but it didn't make me feel awkward either.
Yeah.
Because I was just being me and just doing what I knew to feel best for me in my relationship. But in time, getting to know you and kind of like slowly peeling back the layers of the onion that is my wife, I got down to the bottom of what it was, and now I completely understand. And so I can see why you feel that way, but I mean, I don't think you're wrong.
Okay. So I said to myself, maybe I need to figure out what a power couple is, because I'm obviously maybe like assessing this a little too strongly in the sense of it being negative.
I honestly, I needed to kind of look into it myself, because the same thing that happened to you happened to me when I was at an audio place getting some work done to my car. When we were getting the remote starts put in our car, the guy that was doing the job was somebody that I knew for a long time. We knew each other we had very long friendship, and I hadn't seen him in a very long time. I decided to hit him up. We ever take the cars over there, and just in speaking and catching up, he mentions that he's seen our show, and was just so surprised on how deep and real the topics that we have, and was like, wow, it's kind of crazy how you guys can talk about the things that you talk about, because that's not something that he would see himself talking to his wife about.
Yeah.
And so,
which I think when people say these things to you and I, that they're not willing or open to have these type of deep conversations with their significant other, their spouse, I think you and I are always kind of like, huh? We're very confused by that, because you and I think about it in the sense of, if this is supposed to be your best friend, your partner for life, why wouldn't you want to have these heartfelt, deep conversations? As I think sometimes they go into a realm that is a little unsettling.
it's probably because not everybody's partner is their best friend.
All right, well, that's a whole nother conversation.
I mean,
all
right. So let's just think about it in a business aspect. People are partners in business all the time.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily mean that they're best friends.
Yeah.
So,
well, I actually think it's better for you not to be your best friend and when you're in business.
Yeah, I guess. I think under the right circumstances and under the right personalities, it may work, but that's kind of like an anomaly. But just using that as an example, there are many couples who are just partners in their relationship, and they're not best friends. They're not completely honest with each other, and it turns out that that's one of the qualities that one must have in order to could potentially be what's called a power couple.
Evil's jumping ahead.
Sorry.
So because I said to myself, let's figure out what a power couple is, Jeanna, because it seems to be that many other people looking from the outside in see us as such. Because when I think about a power couple, one of the first couples that comes to my mind, like immediately, is the Obamas, right. Michelle and Barack.
Absolutely.
So then I looked into what a power couple is, and the definition of a power couple is a couple who both complement each other's strengths and support each other's individuality. They're considered role models when it comes to relationships. And that can be a relationship in any facet. So it could be you are married. This is your partner, your boyfriend or girlfriend, your same-sex partner. Whatever the case is, you can be considered a role model in a relationship when you are looked at as a power couple and you have these attributes. So when I read the definition, I said to myself, well, based on the definition, I think Ivo and I would fall in those parameters. But then at the same time, one of the other things that immediately popped in my mind is that within our circle of friends, I know other power couples. And I don't think that they would ever address themselves as a power couple because they look at it kind of the same way I do, that we are just normal couples really striving
to work it out,
to work things out, and to have longevity in our relationships. So I just want to say shout out to the couples that in our inner circle, and maybe you don't know who you are, but I hope if you listen to this episode, you'll know that there are many of you within our circle that we consider you power couples because we know how hard and how much work you put into your relationship. So I just kind of wanted to, put that out there.
I just want to mention real quick. I felt the same way. And like when people would say that, power couple goals. I'm like, I don't like when I think of power couples. I always thought that like a power couple was somebody of like high status.
You associated it with money.
Not money or just like a celebrity. Doesn't have to just somebody who has high social status, that are couples who are able to maintain the relationship in that dynamic, in that environment. Because I think that outside of, we are obviously, now that we've looked up, what a power couple is, we have a lot of those qualities. I think that there's a higher degree of difficulty when it comes to being a couple in an environment where you're a celebrity and you're just mingling with so many different people, and there's so many different opportunities, I guess, to step outside of the relationship that you have.
It's interesting that you say that, because that has a lot to do with my fears of why I don't like to be called these type of phrases. Prime example, Jada and Will Smith.
Yeah. For
a very long time, they were looked at as a power couple. One of my favorite rap artists, J. Cole, said, I want that Will and Jada love. And I, at that time, 100% agree with him. I still agree with him. I look at Will and Jada still as a power couple, because if you're in a long-term relationship like you and I are, there are things that happen within a relationship that a lot of people that are not in a relationship, that have not been in a long-term relationship, will ever understand what it takes to do what it is that Will and Jada are doing. That being said, the minute that something goes down between a relationship of that status, I feel like there are people in the woodworks that for a very long time have been watching that couple and applaud their demise.
Yeah, of course. There's people who want to see them fail.
So that is part of my fear, is that I never want to be put in that light, so that there are people potentially that are around us that are not truly our friends or truly there to support us as a couple, and are somewhat in the back of their minds looking for our downfall as a couple. I never really want to be put in that spotlight. And again, I said that this ties into my association with embarrassment, which comes from my childhood. And not to get too deep into it, but as a young child, I went through a lot of traumatic experiences. So I always felt like I needed to present myself as the strong child. So embarrassment and strength sometimes don't go hand in hand. So I grew up with that persona, and I carry that persona over into my relationships. I no longer feel like that anymore. Right, but when people address me like that or address us like that, I'm kind of like, nah. I kind of just, put it to the side. I'm not really looking for that type of attention.
Yeah.
But that being said, like I said, I immediately thought of Michelle and Barack Obama. And shout out to Michelle Obama, because she's a Capricorn just like me. I don't even know if this is why this woman to me is in my immediate thought. But when I had to think about it, what was it about Michelle and Barack that made me feel like they were a power couple? And when I thought about it, it had to do with the way that they were with each other when they were visible to society, because there's obviously things that go on behind closed doors that nobody will ever see. But the way that Barack looked at Michelle, the way that Michelle looked at Barack, and the way that they uplifted each other, and the way that they supported each other, and in the same sense, they still were these strong, separate individuals. Because let me tell you something, Michelle Obama will always be the FLOTUS that meant so much to me. One, because she was a woman of color, and because of her presence as the first lady and the things that she put into play. And she felt like such a force on her own, even though her husband was the president of the United States. So I felt like there was this dynamic between them where they shined separately, but man, when they were together, they were like a fucking diamond.
Yeah, I always liked the candid moments.
Yes.
Of them that you would that they would put out in the media, because you can just you could feel the chemistry between them.
Yeah.
And
Ivo, 100%.
And the thing that blew me away the most was that I don't know if you never did. Me personally speaking, I've never seen that in any other president and first lady.
I would definitely agree. We haven't been alive for all of the presidents.
For as long as I've been paying attention to politics, which is probably doesn't say much.
Yeah. Because we were in our early 20s when Barack and Michelle became president and first lady. So that was right around the time that I feel like a young person is going to start to pay attention to what's happening. Right. So right off the bat, what makes a power couple? You empower each other. You both support and rally around the other's pursuits and endeavors. So right there, when I thought about Michelle and Barack, Michelle really was the backbone of Barack's campaign, of his presidency. She had to not only support her husband and him becoming the president of the United States, she still had to make sure, because I listened to her podcast, that her two daughters, Sasha and Malia, were being raised in the White House and not really losing sight of just being two normal young women. Mm-hmm. So Michelle had a lot going on behind the scenes that maybe nobody ever knew about, but for me listening to her podcast, I know that there was a lot that went on behind the curtain, that she was always supporting Barack's presidency. But then at the same time, something that she said that I immediately was like, this is why I love this couple. She said that Barack, while he was president, he made his schedule around his children. So there were not moments where Barack couldn't make dinner. There weren't moments that Barack missed things that Sasha and Malia were doing. There were times that he couldn't be present, and she knew about that. But he made sure that his schedule, for the most part,
when he was around, he was around.
He was around. And that to me is, when it comes to rallying and supporting your partner, this fucking guy was the president of the United States. And he made sure that he was there for his daughters and for his wife. So to me, that is like the epitome of what a power couple is. For someone to address us as such, and to me, in my mind, a power couple is Michelle and Barack Obama. Mm-hmm. I'm like in awe of that.
You know what I would love to have experienced, which will never happen, but just thinking about it, I can only imagine that it was just epic. I would love to have been a fly in a room hovering over Michelle Obama as she worked the room.
Well, she is a Capricorn woman. I could tell you right now, she's a flame and a force to be reckoned with.
I'm imagining, and the only reason I'm imagining is because I feel like we've done this like on a very like microscopic scale
Yeah.
in comparison to Barack
We're not
and
like
Michelle
at some fundraiser or
right.
some
But
campaign.
I can just imagine those two right before they're about to enter an event, like talking to each other and maybe kind of like just having this little plan of how they're gonna go about the night and then congregate back together. And okay, Barack, he is who he is, but to be a woman in a room with that caliber of people and work that room the way that I can only imagine that she did, it gives me goosebumps just even thinking about it.
Do you know, as you were saying that, all of the hair on my arm stood up, because I know
that takes a level of finesse that that's just cut from a different cloth.
But at the same time, when you say that, you know what I immediately think about? It's probably such an unspoken thing between them. Because Ivo, you and I, many times we could go to a function and we have to say nothing to each other. We just know how to go about what it is that we're going to do when we step into that arena. And
Right.
I feel like it's possibly a little bit of what you're saying and a little bit of what I'm saying, because they are such that level of a couple that they just know how to function with each other.
Yeah.
That support and that love is felt from like across a room type shit. You know?
I guess I'm speaking more so to like, for example, if me and you, we go somewhere, let's say we go to like a club, right? All right.
I feel like you're jumping a little ahead though.
Am I? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm just touching on
I know
what it is that you're saying, right?
I know, but it's
all right. I'm gonna pull back. All right,
yeah,
go.
pull back,
Yeah,
pull
all
back,
right, go ahead.
because I feel like I know what you're gonna say, and I could be stepping on your toes. But when I say what I think you're gonna say, if I was wrong, please add to what I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Going on. Another thing that will make you a power couple is you prioritize teamwork. And this is really looking into how couples will work together and collaborate together. So when I had to think about this, prioritizing teamwork, you literally just said in one of the other episodes that at one point in our relationship, when it came to the raising of our like young daughter, infant toddler daughter, we literally became teammates because we were like, tag teaming each other in and out the door.
Yeah. I'd be coming home and then you'd be having to like leave, or vice versa. And it was like, okay, this was done, this needs to be done, this needs to be done, that needs to be done. And it was like, all right, tag, you're it.
So when I think about prioritizing teamwork, one of the things that immediately jumps to my mind, and I know that a lot of other couples do this, because I was saying earlier that there are couples within our circle that I think they do this effortlessly and they don't look at themselves like this. But you and I and many other people that we know are willing to step into what is considered either masculine or feminine roles and not care about what society thinks about us stepping into these roles regardless of our gender. And the example that I want to give is something that Ivo just said on a previous episode. When we were raising Ava, there were times where you would take Ava, she was a baby, like under 6 months, and you would swaddle her in a baby wrap and you would go and do housework while I rested. Because either I was recovering or I was when I went back to work, and I was exhausted a lot of the times because I was, we were sleep deprivated. And you would step into this, what is considered a feminine role for society, in society views. You were doing housework, you were caring for the baby, but you were not just caring for the baby, because a lot of men would like to say, I was watching my kid. No, you were caring for your daughter.
Absolutely.
Even with the boys, you would do the same things with them. You would just take them, like, not even, no consideration in the sense of like, oh, well, the mother should be doing this. No, these are the boys. I'm taking care of them.
Yeah.
I need to do what's done. And on the opposite end, when it comes to me, there are many times I step into what is maybe considered like a masculine role. I do things as a woman that most women, I guess, necessarily don't do, not because they don't want to, maybe because it's frowned upon in society. I'm very hands-on when it comes to things in the house. I'm willing to fix, drill, paint, chop, saw, like,
Mm-hmm.
without even batting an eye. I don't even care. Same thing with our vehicles. I will change flat tires. I will change oil. I do have a background in auto mechanics, so that's a whole nother story. But
And I'm man enough to give to like give you the space to do so, to not feel like I need to, come over you and do those things because the way that you're doing them is gonna make me feel less of a man.
I distinctly remember a memory that I have where when we, in the beginning of our dating relationship, your car was maybe not in the best condition, and I at the time had the resources when it came to cars, and that I was able to. I asked you to give me your car one day. I didn't tell you why. I was just like, let me get your car. I'm gonna, because like your radio wasn't working.
I was having issues with my radio.
There was a few things that were like just not functioning right with your car, and I was like, let me get your car. I'm gonna, like, I faked the funk, and I was just acting like I knew somebody that could, I don't know, look at your radio. Where I had this whole mastermind plan where when you came to pick up your car that day, everything that was not functioning in your car right was either fixed or replaced with something newer. And I just handed it to you and was like, here you go. You deserve this. And essentially, when it comes to fixing a car, that's considered more masculine. So from the beginning of our relationship, I feel like we were doing that tag team. You were doing things that would be considered more woman-like. I was doing things that were considered more man-like. And regardless of the gender, but at the same time, we just looked at it like, oh, I'm doing this to support my partner. Like, what difference does it make if I'm a woman or a man or whatever the case is?
I think that's the key, right? That's the key phrase right there, is that you don't look at your partner and say that, oh, I'm not going to do that because that's a woman's job. We're going to do what we need to do to make this shit work, regardless of sex. We're a unit, and we have a task that needs to get done, and whoever's available or whoever's best suited to do it is going to step forward and do it.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether male or female. I mean, obviously there's certain things that you may not be physically capable of doing that I can do as a man, but I think that even in itself falls in just who's the best suited.
Yeah.
So if you're best suited to do something that I'm not, and even though, because typically society sees that the man is supposed to do those things, but I see you as best suited and we agree that you're best suited, then guess who's stepping up to bat?
Yeah, because when it comes to the wiring in this house,
oh yeah, that's not me.
I love you, Ivo, but
listen, I do not claim any of these things that I don't do. I'm not the type of person to bite off more than I can chew. I know when to throw in the flag, and I know when to give props when props are due. And
I smile when Ivo says this, because I think about, there are so many times where Ivo does things, like, for example, there are certain dishes that Ivo can cook that I literally bow out. I'm just like, sir, I can contribute nothing to this. Regardless of me being a woman or not. I'm actually going to step out of the kitchen. Would you like a drink?
I turned, because you know what? That was a secret of mine. I turned out to be more of a foodie than you knew that I was.
Oh, yeah.
So once we stepped into the kitchen together, there were even some of your dishes that
you blew me out
that
the water
I took
with?
over, and I was like, this needs a little bit of this and that, and let's just put this in there. And I think that, try that. And once I did it, you were like, I'm not making that no more. And it was no like, oh, because you're a woman that you should feel threatened that in certain aspects of the kitchen, I'm better in certain aspects.
What I think is great about that kind of rolls into the next thing that I want to talk about, is that
real quick, back to what we were where you told me that I was jumping ahead.
I didn't mention that yet.
Okay, all right. I'm just patiently waiting.
Okay, so what you were just saying about how when it came to that aspect of us being in the kitchen and me just bowing out with, like, no animosity towards that situation. Yeah. The next thing that will signify you being a power couple is that even though you're in a relationship, you are individually strong. I was strong enough to say, he's better at that than me. I'm going to let him do that. And what I'm going to do is try to figure out if there's a way I can support him in that, versus me sitting back and being like, how could I do this better than him? Or how can I make sure that he doesn't do this? Or vice versa. You know that, how can I put this? People who know us will know that we separately, and I know that many friends and family can say this about us, is that separately we are individually strong. We are strong in our careers. We are strong as men and women. We are strong in things that we're passionate about. But together as a unit, we kind of like how I felt about Michelle Obama and Barack. We are like a fucking diamond together, like together, separately we're these strong stones, but together we like make this.
We complement each other.
Yeah. So being individually strong is an aspect of being a power couple, because people know us separately and they know that Ivo is like this force to be reckoned with, but so is Jeanna. Like, you don't take the light, I don't take the light, but people know us to still be this individual strength, which I think is, I can say this about so many other couples that we know, that I don't want to mention names, but I think you probably know who I'm talking about when it comes to a lot of these couples, how many times I will salute the woman but at the same time I'll salute the man because of how they function together, but at the same time how they function separately. I think that is like an attribute of being a power couple that maybe sometimes other couples may struggle with. Because you said this earlier, sometimes when you are with someone, you're not their best friend. You're just a partner.
Yeah.
And I think when you lack the best friend aspect of being in a relationship, you can find yourself being somewhat envious of your partner's individual strength.
Yes. I was just, what's funny is I was thinking about that as you were talking, and I think that it's important to point out that that embracing your partner's strengths and allowing those strengths to shine and flourish is part of having great chemistry. And I think that that in itself exudes a certain type of power, right? So, using us for example, you're very socially active when it comes to being in public places. I feel like you can work and maneuver a room. Even though you enjoy your solitude, even though you enjoy your peace and quiet. I know that when you're put in a public space, that there's a part of you that switches on, and it navigates. It like a I want to call it a shark. It really like kind of makes its way around the room and does what it needs to do. And the fact that I've recognized that, and when it happens, I accept it in a way where I see it as you shining. You know what I mean? And that takes power within myself, it's a dynamic that we have where I'm comfortable enough to say that, wow, that's her moment. And I know that you enjoy being in that space and doing what it is that you're doing, because there's a mental stimulation that comes about you engaging in conversations with people. And that in itself is not something that a lot of people can do. There's a lot of people can't see their partner mingling in a room with a bunch of strangers that they don't know and totally feel comfortable with it.
So what you just said leads into my next thing, that it takes to be a power couple.
God damn it.
Which is fine. Which is totally fine.
I'm trying not to.
Which is totally fine. Which this is the section that I think that you were alluding to earlier. And in order to be considered a power couple, you as a couple have to be willing to explore. And what I mean by explore is Many forget that part of a relationship is what we bring to it, and it is so much for a couple to have all of their individuals. It's too much to ask for a couple to expect to have all of their individual needs met by one person. When I read this, I immediately thought, I was very adamant about telling you that in our relationship that there were parts of me that I could tell that you weren't going to adequately meet. And not to confuse anybody in the audience.
I was about to say, you need to elaborate on this, because right now people are like, what?
But no. So there's an aspect of me that is extremely nerdy. I am a huge moviegoer. I love comics. I love superheroes, and this is
there's also a spiritual side of you, that is deep.
And these are things that Ivo he will always support me in them. He will always let me go, and and do these things.
I'm not a nerd, and I'm not spiritual.
You are a nerd, but just differently.
Yeah, different. And nerdy in the way that you are, and so rather than, like trying to suppress that in you, when you're in that space, I enjoy watching you be in it, because I know that you're really enjoying yourself.
Yeah, which I love it. So it was funny because you were just saying early, just right before this, that you and I can step into a room, and this is the we explore part. Like, exploring as a power couple is. And I think this is what you were going to say earlier, is that there have been many times in our relationship that we will step into an environment, whether it be at a club, this is what you were going to say, or a restaurant, or a lounge, we're hanging out with friends, a festival, whatever it is. Ivo and I will step into these environments, and it's like, you're my partner. You are my life partner. And I know that we have made this commitment to be together forever. But we're about to step into a place where there's a ton of people that we either know or don't know. And I think it would be fun to just explore and get to know people and get to know the environment. And so, but it's such an unspoken thing.
Yeah. I mean, we've spoken about it.
Yes.
And we've spoken about it in a way where we've expressed what's okay and what's not okay, and so on and so forth.
There's obviously boundaries.
Yeah, and what the boundaries are. But when we step into those environments, it's very unspoken. It's just a look, like, I'll see you later.
Yeah.
And then maybe 20, 30 minutes later, or an hour, 2 hours later, who knows, we might come across each other, and
we might, because
we might. I mean, eventually we find each other, but I think that the fact that there's no time frame around it.
There is zero.
Like, oh, it's been 20, 30 minutes. Like, where is this person? No, it's very free flowing and, and organic. And whenever we meet up, or whenever, like, there's usually like a central group meeting place of, like, with everybody that we came with, and where you're kind of like just bouncing back and forth, where you venture off and you mingle a little bit, and then you come back to that space and you mingle with the people that you're with. And if we happen to catch each other in that space, or even in crossing around the public area,
or maybe Jeanna has run off because she saw a celebrity.
Yeah, well, that's a given. I mean, that happens all the time. I think that's great, but that's not what I was talking about.
Okay, I was thinking that exploration is something that when you're a couple, you may not understand this facet of a relationship. And what I just want to say, and then I'm going to turn it over to you, is that one of the things that Ivo and I love to do that sometimes other couples are a little like bugged out about is that, like, let's say we go out with a group of friends, other couples, or people who are just getting to know us, and the example that I want to give is going out to dinner. And I always say, you guys want to sit next to each other? And me and Eva will immediately look at each other and be like, no, I live with this man. I've been with this man almost 20 years. Yeah. We don't need to sit next to each other. We're actually here to enjoy the company of friends or family. So we actually want to, interact with you. And one of our favorite things to do is that once the night or the day is over, me and Eva will get back together. We regroup and we're like, hey, so such and such told me this and I learned this. We love to chat about all of the new information that we have just learned.
Yeah.
And then, like, it brings this like excitement and this newness because we have acquired totally different information because we have been in separate parts of the event that we were at. And it's fun just to kind of chat about it, because when you've been in a relationship as long as we have, things can get pretty, reoccurring. So when you have these chances to go out and explore, why not kind of do it separately but together?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean,
so tell me what you were going to say, because I thought that that's kind of like what you were going to say, because you said club and I was like, wait, no.
Yes and no. So what I was referring to was, there are times where we've gone to either a restaurant or a club or, maybe an event, and certain things need to be done.
Like what?
Like, for example, maybe drinks need to be ordered, or our table needs to be found, or like there has to be some type of organization within the group of, because like, maybe things have to, there has to be some type of like where, we have to be somewhere at a certain time, or when we reach the event, there's certain things that we have to do.
Okay.
And I feel like that there's strengths that you have in those certain situations, and there's strengths that I have in those certain situations. And we can kind of like say, we'll know that these things need to be addressed, and it's almost like, all right, listen, this thing needs to be addressed, and I know that you will knock this shit out the park.
Yeah.
So I deploy you basically to go ahead and handle that, right? And in the same sense, and this is what I'm talking about Michelle and Barack, right?
I love that you said deploy me, because that is a hot,
because you are a weapon in my in my arsenal. And trust me, you are. I think it's important. For couples to know,
recognize your partner's
your partner's strengths and talents, and use those as weapons in your arsenal to deploy whenever they need to be deployed. And I think that Michelle Obama is a weapon.
Ooh,
she's
Ivo.
A weapon in a room full of powerful people, and I know that Barack knows what those weapons are. He knows where to like say, babe, go over there, do what it is that you do, and bring me back this information that I need. You know what I mean? Or come back to me with whatever it is that you come to, and she will go and handle that.
Fuck yeah.
Yes. So that's what I was referring to. And I know that we've done that in many situations.
Yeah.
Or we'll be in a situation where something may arise, and and I'll take over, where it may be something that needs to be addressed with management or things like that, or with some type of service that's been going on, and I'll step forward and handle that.
Yeah.
Because I will do that. You're very much so like, you know what? They're gonna see me. They're gonna feel me, but it's not gonna be right here.
Yeah, they're gonna feel me via the internet.
Yeah, Jeanna was like, I will let you know what my experience was, like on a public forum, and I'm gonna air you out.
I'm gonna save this receipt, and I'm gonna make sure I get everybody's name.
As to where I'm the type of person that I need to get whoever's in charge here now, and we're gonna address this here right now and make this we sort this out. And so sometimes that
and I'm smiling because that took a little bit of, and I, like I said earlier, I struggle with embarrassment, right? So that took a little bit of adjusting for me to get used to, because Ivo had no problem anywhere we went, when he was unsatisfied with something.
The needle comes right off the record. Whoop.
But you always do it in such there's never any disrespect,
right? Because
we both come from service backgrounds. We've both been waitresses. We've both worked in the hotel industry. There is no disrespect. It is always delivered with such respect and such like matter of fact. Hey, listen, this isn't up to par. And I had to get used to that. But at the same time, ladies, if you hear me, we love that shit. Right? We love that shit.
So yeah, so I think that's super important. But thinking about those two, and how, like I said, we've done it. I feel like we've done it in comparison to them, and on a microscopic level.
Yeah.
To be on that caliber with your partner and enter these environments where that the two of you have work to do as a unit. And it's like, together you go out, get it done, and then come back and brief each other on what it was that you found. I love
that. And you know how people say that like where a relationship goes, that's how I feel about Michelle and Barack.
Yeah.
You know, there were other couples that came to mind when it, you know, I mentioned Will and Jada. There are other couples that have came to my mind when it comes to power couples. And I just, you know, I said to myself, I really needed to dig into what a power couple was, and Michelle and Barack just like hit all those points for me. Not to say that there wasn't other ones, because I somewhat too had a little bit of the confusion of like I was associating the status, but Michelle and Barack are my relationship goals. Like I look up to them,
Yeah.
and I say that, you know, because they're in their 50s, entering their 60s soon. I can only imagine for us to be where they are, you know, at the level that they are, and doing the things that they're doing together and separately. Whew, that shit gives me like butterflies, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think they set a great example on what it is to be in tune within longevity. You know, and I think that's, you know, it's very important.
Yeah, and being in tune takes a lot of work.
It does. I feel like that Will and Jada, they are the prime example of everybody wants to be in a relationship, but nobody wants to be in a relationship. You know, everybody wanted to be Will and Jada until they found out what was really going on with Will and Jada.
And I actually don't think that anybody really knows what's going on.
No, but the thing is,
they only know what they see.
so they have, though, that's just the things that they're going through. All relationships have their issues. I mean, I think that's the key word in relationship. It's relating to each other individually. It's you're perfect for me because I accept your imperfections. You know, that's how one becomes perfect for somebody else. I look at you as a whole, and good and bad, you work for me. And so that makes you perfect for me because I accept you as a whole. But that is so because I relate to you on both ends of the spectrum. I relate to you when you're good, and I relate to you when you're bad. Relationship. Everybody want to be in a relationship, but nobody want to be in a relationship. They want the good, but they don't want to be relating to the bad. And so,
and we've talked about this before,
we have.
because people have said to us that they want what we have, and there are some private things that we have kept to ourselves for a very long time, but you know, more recent, when people will say that to me, I go, okay, are you willing to put in the work? Because if you knew what it took for me and Ivo to be where we are now, I want to know if you're willing to do that. And a lot of people are not. So if you want to be this power couple, if you want to be relationship goals, know that sometimes it starts in the fucking dirt.
It definitely does. I mean, listen.
I said sometimes, not all the time, you know?
Getting back to Will and Jada, I think that they are amazing. They are two amazing people for being able to live their lives the way that they've had, maintain a relationship, a marriage, a family, raise children in that light,
and co-parent,
and then yet publicly have to deal with the downsides or the issues in their relationship, which everybody has. They've had to deal with it publicly and all the scrutiny, and still yet they are together, relating to one another and understanding one another. To me, that is fucking a power couple. You know what I mean? Like they have a force field around them that is able to deflect all of the bullshit and still be on the same frequency.
Yeah.
Which is to me, it's a level of relationships that I don't even understand. I hope that one day I really have the mental capacity to be in a situation like that and handle it the way that they do. God forbid that I do, but if I ever am, I will be able to, because that's a level of stress.
And then for anybody that's watching, I'm side eyeing right now because I feel like you and I have gone through things where Evo, you have handled it in ways that have surprised me.
Thank you. I'm just referring to the portion of their life where they are so publicly known, you know what I mean, and they are dealing with their situation so publicly, and but yet still together. And a lot in situations like that, I've seen a lot of couples, they split.
Yeah, so I think that is, like what I was alluding to earlier is I don't want that light on us, because if that does ever,
No, I'm not. In no way, shape, or form am I saying that.
No, I'm not saying you, but I'm just saying that's part of the reason why I never wanted that light on us, is because you never know where life is going to lead you. And because you don't know where life is going to lead you, who's to say that at one point in time we will not be together, right? And because of that, I never want anyone to look at us and go, I thought they were the it couple. That's why I don't even want those type of
I think you're misunderstanding what I'm saying.
No, I'm not saying you. I'm just telling you how I feel about that.
Yes.
That,
I get that. No, and
I'm not saying what you're saying is like making me feel like that.
No, I feel like that you took what I said and you're saying, okay, so what I said was that I hope that if I was to ever be in a situation like that, that I would have the mental strength to be able to deal with it in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then it seems like that you kind of felt that you would never want to be in that situation. Right. Am I getting that?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay. Well, listen, all I was saying was that we've had our ups and downs, and in those ups and downs, we have both managed to sink our feet in 10 toes down and hold up through weather through the storm.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I feel like that was like category 2-3 hurricane type shit. Will and Jada, that's like category 6, 7, 8 hurricane type shit.
because they're in the public eye.
So that's what I'm saying. That's very different. Right? That's what I'm saying. So the ability to grip and go 10 toes down in a category 7 type hurricane, is the power of which I hope to embody one day if I am ever faced with that magnitude of strength. That's what I was saying. That's what I meant to say.
Okay, well said, sir. Right? Well said. I also know. Can you?
Yeah.
I also know that you like have some stuff, and I wanted you to hit on them.
I may have a few things. I don't.
Because you listen, evil just be going on his guru shit, and I just be letting him go. I don't know if anybody understands this format of this show, but I kind of spearhead it, and then I turn over Evil, and he just be on his guru shit.
Listen, I think that it's super important to recognize that. Am I missing something?
No, it's a super. I'm sorry, that was accidental.
Oh, okay. I thought you were trying to get my attention on something. So me and Jeanna, we playing footsie sometimes over here.
My God.
But you guys don't ever realize it. But
God,
we like
just go.
I think it's super important to realize that the people that some of us look at as successful power couple relationships, power couples, right? We kind of identify those people as like, oh my God, like, yo, they're winning, like they're killing it right now. I wish that I was with them. But what you're looking at is a loser who's mastered his losses. All right. I just want to repeat that again. Every winner is a loser who's mastered his losses.
Yeah, because on the surface you see the success, but you don't see what's beneath the success.
Not only that, they have lost so many times where they figured out how not to lose anymore.
Correct.
Do you understand the journey that's been taken? Do you really want to be in a relationship? Just understand the road that most of these people have walked. I can speak from experience. I know that for a fact.
Mm-hmm.
I have relentlessly put myself in situations that have ended in losses in the pursuit of what is called, quote unquote, happiness. And it was through those many failures that I understood finally what worked and didn't work for me.
Mm-hmm.
And after that blood, sweat, and tears, or whatever you would want to call it, of a journey that I went through, once something that complimented me stood in front of me, I only knew it because of the failures that laid behind me. So, and that all goes to that just, that just shows, that just illustrates all of the relationships that I was willing to go through to finally end up in one that I recognized as one that would compliment me.
Yeah.
It took that. So if it was easy, everybody would have it.
I think when you say that, something that comes to my mind is you and I are both very comfortable with failure.
I am now. At the beginning,
I'm not talking about it in our relationship. I'm just talking about in life. Like,
Yeah.
you and I are willing to put ourselves out there and just say, I don't know, fuck it, we're going to figure it out.
Yeah. So I just wanted to kind of go over a few things that
Sure.
many people may have and not realize that they have characteristics of a power couple.
Yeah.
So one of the things that power couples do is that they reinforce each other's goals. They slay goals together.
That's actually really sexy.
It is.
You said that and I was like, we be slaying shit.
We be slaying shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, we support each other in our ventures, and we hold each other accountable for the goals that we set in front of each other.
Yeah, that is so accurate.
Yeah. And when it comes to doing things together, we make sure that we bring our strengths together and we slay those fucking goals.
Mm-hmm.
You may very well be doing these things with your partner and not even realize it.
And this is why I was saying, when I looked into what it was to be a power couple, I know many couples that are doing this shit already.
Yeah. So again, you have characteristics of a power couple.
Yeah.
Pat yourself on the back for that one. You deserve it.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Right. Another one is prioritize each other every day, if you can. It's very easy to get caught up in the everyday of work and kids and house and all this other stuff. But if you're still taking the time to prioritize each other, to check in with each other, how you doing? How was your day? You look beautiful today. Is there something on your mind, something that I can help you with? Maybe be an ear to your partner in any which way. Amongst all of the bullshit, that's showing priority to your partner. You may be doing this and not even realizing it.
Yeah.
This makes you a power couple. This right here is so underrated, but yet so powerful. And I say underrated because I know people do this on a regular basis and don't even realize that they're a power couple for doing this. And that's being healthy together. There's so many people out there just being fit together because they like to be fit. I like to be fit. You like to be fit. Let's be fit together. That shit takes commitment.
Yeah.
Amongst all of the bullshit that's going on in your life, you're finding the time to be fit and healthy together. We did something that I never would have thought I would have did, was that we went vegan for a very, very long time.
Yeah, almost 5 years.
Almost 5 years. I had no intentions on being vegan. It wasn't even like a thought on my radar. Jeanna decided one day to present to us some information that she had found that she thought that we should be aware of as a family. At that time, Jeanna was very much into her body and into her skincare. And
I still am.
And she still is, but at that time I wasn't.
Yeah.
And we lived this life of where she was doing her, I was doing me, and she was choosing a healthy route, and I was just doing whatever. I was working a lot, and I really wasn't.
Maybe okay. Just to add to that really quick, you had already started your fitness journey.
Yes, I'm sorry. You're absolutely right.
I don't want to miss that.
But I was not being healthy about it.
Yeah, you were eating what Ivo likes to call like a dog. He
Yes.
was just eating to eat, and he was just trying to hit his protein levels.
Yeah,
but
my macros.
But it didn't really matter what he was consuming.
Yeah, as long as my macros were hit.
And that was a concern to me.
Yeah, I figured out what macros worked for me and what would make me lose weight and yet maintain muscle mass and blah blah blah. But there's a healthy way to go about that, and there is a target way to go about that. And I was doing the target route, which was very like cheap shit that I would buy on sale, and as long as I can get.
And it was
right.
It was breaking my heart.
And I was consuming this, and I would eat the same thing every day, day in and day out, for 6 days a week, and I would like take a break on one day and eat whatever the fuck I wanted on that day. And that's what I called eating like a dog, because dogs do the same shit. They eat day in and day out.
Yep.
So Jeanna comes to me and she says, well, she reaches out to me first, and she says, well, no, you sent the group text to the family.
Yeah, I wanted to have a family meeting.
She said, we're having a family meeting. Everybody needs to be available on this date downstairs in the living room. No fail. So we all show up. We had this long conversation. I immediately understood what she was saying and was willing to be open-minded and give it a chance.
I think the best part about that was that the whole family was.
Yeah, so once I was in,
our one son was like a little bit on the edge about it, but then he wound up being like the most neurotic about it.
So I agreed, and then our oldest, he understood and agreed and was willing to give it a chance. Our youngest, she was too young to even make a choice. She was just along for the ride. Mm-hmm. And then our middle child, he was reluctant, but at this point it was majority rules, and we literally the next week we consumed all of the stuff that we had in our house, because we're not wasteful. We don't throw shit away.
Not even that week. I think that was like on a Tuesday. By like that Friday we were like, we're done.
Right. But and
we had a party.
What I'm saying is that we still had food and things like that in the house that were not, they didn't fall in line with what it was that you wanted to do. So rather than throwing them out, we consumed them, because especially me, I'm just not a wasteful person.
Yeah.
And then the next shopping trip, it was like from one extreme to the other, and we went full throttle into being vegan, and we just kind of like worked it out and whatever. And I ended up benefiting it from the most, which was crazy.
The typical man thing, like like Ivo started to look and feel different like immediately, and he was like, "Are you feeling different?" I was like, "I kind of feel the same."
Yeah. I had a little bit of an unfair advantage because I was like eating such shit that you could see it, right? So when I flipped the switch, I was the one that went from one extreme to the other. Like you were pretty, doing pretty well for yourself, and I was just not it was eating everything that I shouldn't have been eating, but that fell under this like, poultry and veggies and carbs, whatever.
Listen, to make a long story short, we decided to be fit together as a couple, as a family, and it was probably one of the best things that we ever did. We are no longer fully vegan. Yeah. But man, what an amazing journey that was, because it really changed our view on food as a whole. Yeah. We still eat very differently as a family because of the choice to become fully vegan, and that really empowered us as a couple and as a family, because now we look at food in a way that we never looked at food before. So like we leveled up because of that journey, you know?
Absolutely. So, these are things that you're probably doing and don't even realize it. So big up to you for being a power couple. Another one is exercising together. They say a couple who works out together stays together. I mean, I don't know how much truth that is to this, but it is fun to work out together.
Listen, I'm competitive. When me and Ivo work out together, I'd be looking at him like, nah, I'm gonna do 5 more minutes than him.
I mean, and it takes a certain type of chemistry to be able to work out in the same space. Yeah. Because certain people, sometimes they feel like that, nah, that's just not something that, a man and a woman would do together.
I love the support though. I love the support. I recently have gotten into rock climbing, and I can't wait to go rock climbing with you, because I know that.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I haven't done it yet. I'm just so what's the word I'm looking for? There's parts of it that are fearful, and I know that when I go with you, like, you're gonna help me get through that fear. So that's something that I would want for other couples. I would want them to experience that exploration part of doing something new with your partner, and your partner being there to support you.
Yeah, absolutely. And lastly, I'm gonna end this with this last one. Is it's important to be best friends.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of power couples that people look up to, they exude that quality. You can tell that they have a friendship that's beyond romance, that there's a chemistry there that's beyond two people in a relationship. These people are truly our best friends. If you can imagine what the relationship is with between you and your best friend, which is amazing at most of the time. I mean obviously friends have their differences, but if you can imagine having that relationship with your partner, and so now you have a intimate and romantic relationship combined with a best friend relationship, that right there is power beyond belief. It just doesn't exist.
Level up to like level 100.
It doesn't exist in a lot of relationships. And if you have that and don't realize that you have something special, you have the qualities of a power couple. So congratulations to you.
I just want to say, and then we can close this out, is that maybe some people don't know how to be best friends with their partner. And I'm just going to say from experience with you and I, Ivo, is that I love to have fun with you. Mm-hmm. And I think that is what has helped us become best friends, is that when we go places and we do things together, I let you be Ivo, and I am then in admiration of who you are. And then it goes the other way. Because I let you be free and I let you be who you are, you then let me be who I am. And then we come together and we're just like, yo, that was so much fun. Mm-hmm. And we want to continue down that road together. Yeah. And I want that for other couples. So as hard as it may be to like let your partner go out and, spread their wings because you're afraid that they may not come back, mm-hmm. just understand that if it is meant to be, and I know this is so cliche, it will always come back.
Yeah. It's a little hard.
Of course.
It's a little hard because you think about your best so you think about your best friend, you love your best friend because you love all the characteristics about them, the way that they're silly, the way that they're funny and sarcastic, the way that they make you feel. And your best friend, you accept them for who they are. They can act their true selves in front of you and you don't judge them. Mm-hmm. Right? Try that with your partner.
Yeah.
Try that with your partner. Allow them to be silly. And this might be too listen, I just allow them to do things that are true to their personality
and may make you feel uncomfortable.
And don't judge them for it.
Yeah.
Right? The result of that will be a level of appreciation that will bond you in a way that two best friends are bonded.
Yeah.
Okay. The fact that somebody can stick two straws up their nose and squirt milk out of them, because that's what they like to do as some funny shit, and the person next to them laughs at it, is like, oh shit. Like, you thought that was funny? Well, you're my fucking best friend. You know what I mean? So, like, if your partner does something that's silly and embarrassing.
Or, like, when Jeanna screams when she was watching the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, and I jump up off the couch and I start dancing in the middle of the living room, and Ivo is just sitting there letting me be me and, like, having a good time with me. These are the things that make you best friends.
Yeah, absolutely. So, definitely try to have those. If you don't have that type of relationship, definitely work on growing it. I mean, it doesn't happen overnight.
This is, ladies and gentlemen, this is 20 years in the working.
It definitely takes a lot of work.
And I say with embarrassment because there's been many times that Ivo has done things that I'm like, oh fuck,
what?
I can't believe this is happening right now.
Yeah, but the beautiful thing is that I'm blessed enough to wake up in the morning and look over, and you don't judge me and you still love me for it. So
same. So that actually is a great way to end this episode. Of course, I've always had so much fun talking with you,
Likewise.
Ivo. I love the fact that during this conversation, even though we've been together for so long, you still make my hair go up. It's like listening to a new fucking song. And you're like, oh my God. I get this like sensation all over my body. I just hope anybody listening to this episode can walk away and say, fuck it, we are a fucking power couple. Fuck what anybody says.
Definitely hope that you learn something and know that you probably have the qualities of a power couple and you don't even know it, because we sure as hell
had no fucking
don't
clue.
know it. And it's still like we don't even look at each other that way. But we do appreciate and recognize the people that do see us in that way, and hope that we can
continue to like inspire and give you a good laugh here and there. But so we have a new episode that launches every Friday, so please like, subscribe, share, do all that good shit. But until next Friday, ladies and gentlemen,